Let's bring in our first guest tonight, civil rights attorney and Fox News contributor, Leo Terrell, along with Douglas Society founder and president and host of the Can't Cancel Rob Smith podcast. It's Rob Smith. All right, Leo, I don't know. I've asked you like 1,000 times to come on this show, and it's the first time, but here you are. What a great story for you. There you are in Los Angeles. What did you make of this appalling week?
Well, first of all, Steve, thanks for having me on, and your monologue was spot on. Let me be very clear. The ugliness of racism is the foundation of the Democratic Party. They use it to play identity politics, Steve. They pit one group after another, and that's why you have this gerrymandering going on in Los Angeles. But what the problem is very simple. They get a pass. Why? Because they have people like James Kleinberg, Obama, giving them an excuse and covering up for the racism. Racism is alive and well in the Democratic Party. Steve, the number one reason why I left the Democratic Party was because of that last piece by Joe Biden. Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That insults every black American, and I'll tell you right now, Hispanics and blacks are leaving the Democratic Party. Joe Biden is the imperial wizard of the Democratic Party.
Well, I mean, Rob, but you've been saying the same thing for a while. This is the motivation for setting up the Douglas Society.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to look at this from a media standpoint, right? Like you said in your monologue before, if this was a Republican that said these remarks, and these remarks are absolutely outrageous. If there was a Republican that said this would be major news. This would be the news cycle for the entire week. But since these were Democrats, we didn't hear a whole lot about it. In fact, the only time I really read about it was in print, and a lot of these outlets did not share that these were Democrats that made these statements, which is why one of the reasons I started the Douglas Society as a media entity is to share these stories with the African-American community that may be independent or center-right leaning, these stories that are sort of swept over by the mainstream media. Now, the mainstream media colludes with the DNC and Democrats to whitewash all of the racism of the Democrats and all of the racism that comes from the left. And that's one of the things I want to do with the Douglas Society is highlight that. And let me make one point here. When we're talking about something like Planned Parenthood, which is basically a Democrat Party super PAC right now, there's so many people that do not know that that organization was started by a white supremacist and eugenicist named Margaret Sanger. This is the type of whitewashing that Democrats and the left do about American history, and this is what I'm trying to combat with Douglas.
And Leo, you know what's amazing about this? I guess we shouldn't be amazed because we're used to it now. Is the shamelessness, right? That Obama says this stuff about, you know, Republicans are the racists, and then Gavin Newsom barely sort of raps them over the knuckles. At the same time, they're just still accusing Republicans of being racist. They don't confront them. Biden showed up there, but two of them hadn't resigned. I mean, they're shameless about this.
And Steve, if I can follow up on that point, Nuri Martinez, the president of the LA City Council, who made the majority of those statements, she tweeted out calling Trump a racist. They want to whitewash every Trump Republican, 75 million. The racist is the person who made the statement. It's a smoke and mirrors game. One other point, Steve, I've been a civil rights attorney for 30 years and trying to fight discrimination. The Democratic Party is the heart and soul of discrimination, and they select people based on skin color and race. Example, we have an incompetent vice president, solely selected because of her skin color and race. We have a White House press secretary, totally incompetent, selected based on sexual orientation and color. The Democratic Party looks at everything, policy, regulation, everything through race, and it got to stop. And that's why Hispanics, blacks, people of all colors are leaving the Democratic Party. I left 2 years ago, and I'm much, much happier.
Exactly. I thought that was very well said. I mean, that's right, Rob. You know, this is where you get to. This is the culmination of racializing everything, including what they were doing there, which is, you know, drawing up the electoral districts based on race. That is their defining unit of analysis for every issue these days is race.
Well, it is. And I think that one of the things that you have to be careful about and one of the things that you have to notice is that with Democrats, if every single thing is about race, every single thing is about gender, every single thing is about sexual orientation, what they do is they slice and dice people into these smaller and smaller groups based on immutable characteristics. They have yet to give us a real vision of what they really believe that American society should be, what they believe that people can give to America. And when there's a lack of that vision and they replace a vision with just these identity politics, these things are going to continue to happen and happen and happen. And to Leo's point, the reason that so many blacks, Latinos, whoever are coming over to the Republican Party is because they're seeing a clear vision for who they are as Americans, regardless of race, gender, skin color, all of those immutable characteristics. We're Americans, and we're not going to survive as a country until we start thinking like that a little bit more and start thinking in the identity politics realm a little bit less.
Exactly. Well said, both of you. I think I really care about this so much, this issue, and it's so heartening to see you both and many others fighting for this, fighting for genuine equality of opportunity for every American, regardless of race. The Douglas Society, absolutely fantastic. Leo, great to see you on the show finally. We'll do it again soon. Great to see you both. Thank you.
Will do, Steve. Thanks,
Steve.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.